What is up, Carolina fans? This is Phil Harris here at the Ruckin Roosters Show, and I'm joined with two very, very special guests this evening. We've got two brothers on the show once again, Max and Aiden Hendry from the University of South Carolina Fighting Gamecock rugby team. Max and Aiden, how the hell are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Excellent. Happy to be here. So glad you guys are able to join us this evening. We've got a lot to go over, but I want to start asking first, where are y'all from exactly?
So we're from like a small village called Kilmacombe, probably about 20 minutes from Glasgow. So kind of like a suburb,
Okay. Yeah.
pretty much.
Love that. I think Glasgow might be the most romantic city in the world. The reason I say that is I got engaged to my fiance there in Glasgow just in last November. As a matter of fact, I love it there. We'll definitely be back for sure. But the biggest question, maybe in the entire interview, is Glasgow Warriors or Edinburgh Gunners for you guys?
Glasgow Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely. So Crystal Lee and I went to a Glasgow Warrior game. We also went to the Gunners as well. Great venue at both places. I just actually got her a really sharp training kit for Glasgow Warriors because it's like blue and pink. It looks really, really good. So, yeah, but we loved our experience there in Scotland. Tell us about y'all's origin story with rugby. How did you guys find rugby?
So we went to a school called St. Columbus, which is our local school. There's a primary school, which I guess you guys would call middle school, I guess.
Okay.
Elementary. And then there was also a senior school. And so we started playing rugby there right from the beginning of school, where we were probably around maybe 6 years old. And we also played for the local club team, which was Birkmire. The Birkmire Bears, I believe. So we played for them for quite a long bit, played for school, and then actually in Aiden, so there's 6 years in Scottish high school. And so in Aiden's last year, he was the captain of the school team, and I was the year below, and we played in the same team. So he actually managed to, we managed to play in the same team, which was nice. And then I actually left after my 5th year, and then he left as well. So
okay, I mean, that's kind of interesting. I mean, so you guys might want to mute while I'm talking and then like unmute when you can. So that's very interesting. I mean, you're talking about learning how to play rugby and being familiar with rugby at 6 years old. That is something in this country that we definitely need more so. And of course, youth rugby has been making strides here in the United States, but we're a long way from 6-year-olds playing rugby frequently in the United States. I think that's definitely something that to progress the sport further, people have to find it sooner, because most people in the United States, at least my generation, found it in college. So let's talk about you both are transfer students into Carolina. I wanted to talk both about your experiences elsewhere, where you played before Carolina, and also what made you choose Carolina to continue your education and also continue your rugby playing career here in the collegiate ranks.
Yeah, I can go first. So
Sure.
My freshman year in my undergraduate, I went to the University of Mary Washington for a year.
Okay.
And I just kind of decided I wanted to change. Like, I want to go to a bigger school, like a bigger program. So I transferred to Arizona, and I was there for about 3.5 years. Wow. Graduated last fall, and then Max transferred to South Carolina from Marion, and I came out and visited him a couple of times, and like I really loved it. I loved the team. Like, I loved the culture. So I just kind of decided that if I could do a master's and continue my career, I would like to do it here at South Carolina. And on top of that, it's just a really good program at Darla Moore that I got into. So just a bit of both, honestly.
One of the world's best business programs there at Darla Moore, of course, as a lot of folks know about that's watching this, and maybe some that don't. So if you're interested in international business, there's very, very few places in the entire world that you can go to get a better education than the University of South Carolina. Tell me about Arizona. Obviously very, very different from South Carolina, like from just like a location standpoint, a scenery standpoint. What's the big differences from those two places in your mind?
I think the biggest difference is probably just the weather, honestly. It's like just such a dry heat in Tucson all year round. Like, I think it'd be 115 right now still. So it's quite nice coming here for the weather change, but then also the humidity kind of makes up for it.
That's what punches you in the face, right?
Yeah,
like every single day around this time of year, for sure. Let's move on and talk about what are you guys studying? Obviously, Aiden, we talked to you a moment ago about business. You're studying at the Darla Moore, but Max, what are you studying at Carolina? There we go.
Sorry, I had a little bit of technology issues there. I'm in the School of HRSM, which is Hospitality, Retail, Sport Management. And I did my undergraduate in Services Management, which was in the same school. And my current master's is on Retail Innovation. So it's just a lot of analyzing data for retail stores and just kind of how to understand consumer behavior, stuff like that. But it's a good school. I know the sports management program in the HRSM school is quite big. There's a lot of guys on the team who are in the school. But just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying earlier, I won't lie, I wanted to get into the Darla Moore, but however, I'm not the best numbers guy.
Sure.
They were trying to make me do calculus, and I figured I would just cut my losses before I started.
Totally understand that for sure. I mean, I was a business major to begin with, and I didn't really necessarily like it, so I switched to political science and found my way there. So it's interesting where we all have these journeys throughout life and make these choices and end up in different places. But I'm so glad that both of you decided to continue your education at Carolina and continue to play rugby at the University of South Carolina. It's awesome to have you on board, of course. Let's talk about what have you enjoyed most about off of the pitch at Carolina. What have you found the school like? What's endearing to you about Carolina?
I think just the southern hospitality, as they would call it, and just the kind of, like you said, the scenery, the palm trees, the weather, as much as I'm dreading playing on the weekend at 1 p.m., it's going to be hot as ever.
All right.
And it's just such a nice environment. And, Columbia as a college town, it's very spread out, which I think some people would probably not like as much. But I love it. Everything's just kind of all over the city. It's a big college town vibe.
Yeah.
And I think, everyone just kind of loves South Carolina University. So it's just a good culture to be in, to be honest. And the weather is just especially coming from Indianapolis to South Carolina, it's quite a change.
I'm sure Aiden got anything to add to that.
No, I would just agree with Max mainly. But another big thing I like about the school here is I feel like there's a lot of school spirit, and I just always enjoyed it. Like I was at the football game on the weekend, and it's SEC football, something different. It was really cool to go and be a part of, for sure, despite the annoying result. Of course.
Absolutely, yeah. You'll have that every once in a while, a Carolina letdown game, as we call it, where I come from. But it is what it is. As you get used to it as the years progress, unfortunately. But the rugby team's doing really, really well. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I did want to mention the atmosphere at football games at Carolina. My buddy Kenny, who's born and raised in Scotland, Dumfries, as a matter of fact, he went to a Tennessee game over the weekend, and he's a big Celtic guy, just like myself. He's been to Celtic Park numerous times. He's been to Old Trafford many, many times, also a United fan like myself, but he was just blown away with the atmosphere at Carolina, at Tennessee. Just SEC football is just different, man. It's so passionate. So let's talk about rugby at Carolina. Both of you play rugby at Carolina. There's a great tradition of preseason training at Fort Jackson, one of the coolest and most unique of all of college rugby, having that preseason training there. What was y'all's experience for this trip at the fort this year?
So I'm just going to go first because I unfortunately couldn't go. I had a mandatory orientation. But from what I saw, it looked really cool, and I hear a lot of cool stories. All the boys seem to enjoy, crawling through the mud and doing the obstacle courses and stuff like that. But sure, I unfortunately couldn't be there.
Oh, what a shame. What about you, Max?
It was good fun. For me, I wasn't there last year, but I managed to go this year, and it was very different. You have to go into an actual. I wasn't aware of the size of these military bases, but you have to go in, show your ID. It's all very security measured, and we're driving past like houses, people that live there, so that was really cool. We also did camera shoot there for the army games. But no, all the drills were just they were fun, but it was like they would show you how to do it, and it would be crawling through mud, going through tunnels. There was one where we had to climb up probably like a 20-foot just wall of ropes, and then you had to just fall back at the top. So it was good fun. And there was a part where we put on our story and we all had to jump in the mud and crawl out, and that kind of ruins the day right from the start. But it was good fun. It was good team bonding, especially right off the bat, for everyone to just get on 2 army buses and just get put through all of these drills. It's good fun.
Yeah, totally. I had a class. I talked about this in the last episode with Coach Roberts. I had a class at Fort Jackson through Carolina, and I would have never imagined in my wildest dreams or maybe wildest nightmares that we would actually, later on in life, you players would have to go through this grueling preseason obstacle course type training day that you had. I'm kind of glad that I didn't have to do that myself as an undergrad at Carolina. But let's move over to With You Weekend. It's coming up. We've got With You Weekend this weekend. Carolina actually is undefeated right now, if you want to count it. We've got 2 wins, I believe a draw last weekend against UNC Charlotte. Okay. What has practice been like this week as y'all prepare for this weekend with You Weekend, of course, UNC Wilmington coming to town?
Practices, we had the draw against UNC Wilmington, which in our books was not obviously the result we wanted. So right. I think
against Charlotte.
Got getting the names wrong here.
Right.
But yeah, a draw. They were, not to put any disrespect on their team, but they were a strong team, very physical. Just a lot of handling errors, I think, on our half. But I think we've really just tried to isolate the problems that we were experiencing during the game, just the handling errors and, certain set pieces between the forwards and backs. So, it's been less of what we would usually do every week, where we would, just have a game, it all goes to plan, which doesn't happen, often for every team. But we've just been kind of focusing more on these individual little problems and just trying to get them ironed out. And then we're also giving, we have unfortunately a couple of injuries from last week, so which also comes with the benefit of a lot of guys have to step up this week, which is going to be nice to see. So it's it's been different training with different guys, but I mean at the end of the day that's what it's all about.
Yeah, great answer for sure. I wanted to quickly mention that, this is one of these things that, you talk about injuries, it's really the next man up, and that you guys have a huge squad. I believe that you guys travel sometimes with like 60, 70 kids. I mean, that's insane. I couldn't imagine a squad size that big. So it gives the opportunity for guys that maybe haven't had a starting role to, kind of show up and show out in these next couple games. I know we've got conference play happening soon once we get past Wilmington up there in Tennessee, one of my least favorite places in the whole world. But let's talk about With You Weekend. That is happening this weekend. The alumni game is Friday night at 7:30 at the Bluff Road Club Sports Field. And of course, on Saturday at 1 o'clock, Carolina faces off against UNC Wilmington at the Bluff Road Club Sports Field. It's a mouthful, folks. What will the boys need to do this weekend to get the win over the Seahawks?
I think we just kind of need to stay focused and stay in our game plan. I feel like a theme that's been happening is we kind of play down to an opponent. It's like playing it unstructured and chaos. We just need to kind of do our game plan, really hone in on what we've been working on this week in practice. Like I feel in the forwards anyway, we've definitely been getting steps forward in our set piece. So I think we just need to run our system and do what we do well and stay calm and composed.
Excellent. Max, you got anything to add from a backs perspective there?
Yeah, I would just kind of say the exact same. We need to run our system, which is quite easy, to get away from when you're maybe playing a team who's maybe a lower level, which, Aiden hit the nail on the head there. We've just been playing down. But I think, we know what we have to do. We just have to play our game. We know we're not the most massive side physically, so we just have to play to our strengths, try play it through the backs a little bit more. Hopefully we'll get the win. But I think we've been training well this week, and everyone's everyone's been very up for it, and the leadership team kind of know what needs to be done for us to achieve what we want to achieve this season. So, you know, it should be a good weekend, and with you weekend's a good weekend for it to be on.
Absolutely. I'm sure there will be a huge crowd of folks there supporting the Gamecocks. Obviously, with you weekend, we're going to have alumni, parents, and all those folks come in to cheer you guys on against UNCW this weekend. I will be at the Clemson away game, so I'm really excited to be as loud as possible and as obnoxious as possible watching you guys play our most hated rival next month. So really, really looking forward to that. But I wanted to really promote With You Weekend before it takes place. You know, tomorrow is the first event, and then the big event is on Saturday. So individual tickets are $100 per person. You could also sponsor the event for $500, which gets you 2 tickets and a T-shirt. Check out Carolina Rugby, the website, Carolina Rugby website, to purchase your tickets at uscrugby.net under the events tab. So final thing for both of you, I'm going to ask both of you this question, and it's really something that we ask on every single episode of this show, regardless of who we're speaking to, alumni, players, or staff. If a high school or transfer student rugby player was watching this, what would you tell them about coming to Carolina and playing rugby as a Gamecock?
I would probably tell them that it's, you know, like a really great program with a lot of great players, great coaches, a good culture where, you know, you can fit in right away. Everyone makes you feel welcome. And it's also a team where everyone's willing to put in like extra work and work hard to get better. Like today, the forwards, we did a little extra practice just to really work in our lineouts. So it's just, I think it's just a great program overall with a good skill and just a good culture.
Awesome. Max, what you got?
Yeah, I would just say if you want to come and you want to be a part of a rugby team where there's culture, rugby culture, we have fun, but, you know, when it comes to game time, we're serious and we want to win. I think, you know, the rugby aspect, it's all there, and I'm not going to overshadow the fact that it is a club with scholarship opportunities. So I think that is a big point for anybody that would want to come, you know, just think about that. Mm-hmm. And then there's also the fact that you're at a massive school in, you know, one of the best climates in the whole US. So I just think if you want to be at a big school and experience, you know, the best of both worlds being rugby and, you know, the social aspect of college, I think it's the place to be 100%.
I don't think anybody could have put it any better than what you did, definitely right there. So I appreciate both of you jumping on here. Really excited to see as this season continues to progress, to see where Carolina ends up. It seems like a very, very special team that you guys have that you're playing for right now. So Coach John Roberts saying it's a great show. I appreciate Coach jumping in here and voicing his opinion. I always appreciate him and his contributions to this program. So with that being said, boys, I appreciate your time, and we're going to say 2 words to get out of here in 3, 2, 1. Spurs up.
Spurs up.
Thanks, pals. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.